All right, take two. First rule of this channel, we not talk about this channel. Second rule of this channel, this is not legal advice. So, news and notes coming out on the eve of the draft. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff going on, primarily in the wide receiver market. So the Sun God, and I'll bring this up because I should have had it up already. He signed a 4-year, $120 million deal. That's going to have repercussions across probably like a lot of other deals that may or may not get done, potentially even Brandon Aiyuk getting moved like tomorrow, or contract getting done tomorrow. So the Sun Gods deal, remember Tyreek Hill set the bar at 30 million a year. He's getting theoretically 30 million a year. The last year of that deal, there's an out after 2027. The last year of the deal is going to be a $35 million base salary hit, but only $6.7 million in dead cap. So realistically, this is closer to like a 3-year, $80 million deal for the Sun God. I have this pulled up. He went from a slot only guy in 2021 at like 74.7% of his snaps to 54% of it, or 54% of his snaps in 2022. And then last year, only 49% of his snaps. He still gets a lot of his usage. It says here in this article in the 0 to 9 yard range. So yeah, he is basically like a quote unquote slot guy going forward. The other thing the Lions did is they signed Penei Sewell to a 4-year, $112 million contract. That's good news for the Toys there in Detroit if you have those guys in Dynasty, or you're going to pick them up in redraft. But moving on from the Sun God stuff. So the other thing that happened today is Jamar Chase had his 5th-year option picked up by the Bengals. Not surprising at all. It's moving in the direction that they're not going to get a deal done. It also says here that 5th-year option would have been $7.5 million less if he hadn't made the Pro Bowl, but this year's $21.8 million. This matters because the Ravens did sign an extension with Rashod Bateman. He was a first-round draft pick in 2021. So they could have given him the 5th-year option. They declined to do that. The two sides did. They got the deal done for 2026. Remember, Gabe Davis signed that 3-year, $39 million deal to go to the Jaguars. So I imagine that like Bateman's contract is going to be in the ballpark of that. And if I'm not misreading this article, he would have gotten about $14 million had they given him the extension this year. He said, no, I'll take less than that probably. And I'm going to guess like it's going to be in the ballpark of $13 million. No contract details were disclosed right now, but I'm going to guess it's in the ballpark of that. So he can play 2025, 2026, get about like, let's say ballpark $13 million instead of hitting free agency. He has been fantasy relevant at certain points. He's flirted with that, also been very injured. Why this matters from a fantasy perspective is if they're going to play him at the X, that means that Zay Flowers can get moved around the formation as the slot and the Z. If they're going to play Bateman as the Z, that means that Flowers is probably going to be the slot only type guy. Flowers is probably not going to be big enough to go out and play that X position. And then with the draft tomorrow, it's going to be really telling about how they're going to use Zay Flowers in the potential breakout season that may or may not be coming. If they go get a big X, Zay Flowers looks like he's going to be more of that Amon-Ra St. Brown slot guy. If they go get like a Z, that means that like Rashod Bateman's probably going to play that X. Little things to go on. Probably going to really determine how much I would move up or down Zay Flowers, how much I think that there's a good chance of him having that breakout season, him being able to get enough of the targets and the higher volume or higher value targets downfield in order to potentially have that breakout season. And then finally to put this all together and get this video done rather quickly, Brandon Aiyuk, who's been a little contentious with the 49ers in the offseason. Right now, it would look like after the Amon-Ra St. Brown deal, in order for the 49ers and Brandon Aiyuk to get a deal done, he's going to have to be in the ballpark of $30 million. I mean, I'm going to speculate and say, like, maybe he'd take 28. Maybe he's going to hold out for 32. I don't know. It just means that, like, that's going to be the number that needs to go. And normally when the first domino falls, these guys tend to fall in line afterwards. We saw that last year with, like, Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts. So I imagine going into the draft that someone that comes knocking for Brandon Aiyuk, if there's going to be a deal done, they're going to have to throw $30 million at Brandon Aiyuk a year. on the 49ers. If they want to get the deal done, we may see it tomorrow before the draft, now that both sides know what they'd be dealing with in order to get it done. And but I would be paying attention to a potential Brandon Aiyuk trade deal if the 49ers are going to be unwilling to spend $30 million a year on him. He's probably more in line with that $25 million that Deontay Smith got, just because how they use him in the offense. He's not one of those higher volume guys. He's a higher efficiency guy. I just think it's going to be really interesting going into tomorrow. Little behind the scenes details that are going to affect guys' value behind the scenes. So anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow when I break down the first round of the draft.